What's up, everyone? Coach David here again with Metro Jiu-Jitsu, and we have
Muhammad,
Professor Muhammad. By the way, that is like a tried and true way. If you ever want to give someone a compliment, you call me Coach. You call Professor.
That's right.
They could be interchangeable, but it's preferred titles.
Correct.
So that's why that's many people don't know that. They think there's they think I do that. I don't know why they think I do that, but that's the key.
Well, 15 years of training, that's more than a college degree, college education. So
it's a long time. It's a lifetime.
It's a lot of forensic detail into what we do.
A lot of it, man. A lot of it. But so we're gonna get right into this, and we have several questions. And so I want to just get something out of the way. So last week we talked about I was going hunting for the first time, and everyone's asked me, like, what'd you think of it? How was it? Is it everything you expected? Are you a hunter for life now? And so the question is, hunting, is that overrated or underrated? My final answer is I think it's going to be appropriately rated. I think it's appropriately rated.
You didn't feel that way before you went out, did you?
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. I definitely think who you go with makes a difference.
Yeah.
It's like anything else. It's not necessarily what you do; it's who you're with. So I was with the guy that I went with, a great friend of mine, Mike Drain. Kind of showed me the ropes a little bit. He showed me how to gut it and everything. So that was pretty graphic. But I think it's like, I'll say this: I still believe jiu-jitsu is more masculine of an activity than hunting. Even though, like, you killed something and you're like, elbows deep and like, gutting this thing, I still think jiu-jitsu is more masculine, because no man in America needs to be able to kill something to eat. Like, you don't need to. You don't need that skill anymore. But every man in America still needs to know how to protect his wife and himself and others and things like that. So
yeah, wouldn't you? You don't need to hunt or shoot to kill to feed your family, right?
Correct. Yep.
But isn't that where we started, like hundreds and hundreds of years ago?
Sure.
You needed to.
Yeah, thousands of years ago. Yeah, it was not hunters or gatherers. Yeah, hunter-gatherers. Yeah, you needed to, but you don't anymore. Like, the providing takes. No, notice I'm talking like you don't need to physically hunt and kill. Like, providing is still very much the responsibility of the man, and so you work and then you provide value to the marketplace, whatever, and you provide for your family that way. So that's ultra masculine. But like, there are terms of like, because even I don't know how much meat you get off a deer, but like it's not going to feed them very, very much, especially the way my kids eat. So little man will chow on that.
He's nonstop.
But you're going what, Wednesday?
I'm going Wednesday.
You excited? You stoked?
Yeah, I am. It's been 10 years. Year after year, I've been saying, you know what? I'm going hunting this year. And
that's going to play in nicely to your last question, I think. To your last question on this podcast. So 10 years, what made you've been wanting to go hunting for 10 years?
Yeah. 10 years.
How have you not gone hunting? Like, because I know, by the way, I just need to preface this. Like, Professor Muhammad has a reputation for it being a real action taker and a doer. And like, he's not the type to be like, yo, he's not a flake. Like, he's like, if he wants something, he's very much like, I'm going to go do it and figure it out on the way.
Well,
how have you not gone hunting if you wanted to do it for 10 years?
Here's the thing. The last 10 years, it's been more like asking the people around me, people in my network, some of my clients at GNC in the last few years over here at Metro. And I noticed that, like, when somebody's been hunting for a few years and you bring up the hunting subject, it's not like, let's go grab a bite, let's go get coffee. It's more like it's letting somebody into your family.
Oh, I got you.
It's more intimate, and it's like letting somebody into your house.
You're saying to go with them?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I get that.
So, it's not like somebody wouldn't necessarily not trust you, but if somebody's going to take you, like, really say, we need to go hunting, it's like, you need to come over my house.
Oh,
there's not many people that I would say, hey, you need to come over my house and hang out.
I see.
So
okay.
I kind of got that feeling that, and it's, is it like an individualized thing for the most part?
Well, I mean, we went like Mike and I went like we just kind of kicked it, and he was real selfless about it. Like he was like because obviously like only one of us are gonna get a kill, so he was like,
Why? Oh, because you're right next
well,
to each
yeah. I mean, I guess in theory, if there was like several deer and you're like, all right, and you coordinate, you sink your shots. Is this one going to? Yeah, you coordinate, you sink your shots. You could in theory, but like usually you're gonna fire one shot and then scared, so like someone else isn't gonna unless they can hit a moving target. But like you're gonna sacrifice one, or unless you get it different days, right? But he was willing to just willing to sacrifice. Like he's not gonna get a kill this year.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Mike is good people.
Yeah, he's been doing it for like 50. He got his first like when he was 15 though. I can move whatever you need. But yeah, you want us closer? Vertical.
Yes.
So, cool. So that is, I'd say it could be a group joint thing. Could be a group of joint thing. But overall, that's kind of my take on hunting. I would go again, but I'm not like I don't know if I'd say I'm they get really obsessed about it for 2 weeks out of the year. Yeah. It's a 2-week window. And there's people like their entire identity is wrapped around hunting and killing things, and I'm like, this is 2 weeks. Like I thought it was like football season, 3 months.
Yeah. I didn't realize that until
they're really, really short.
Yeah.
So, but that's the take on the hunting. So Thanksgiving week, one of my favorite weeks.
What? Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, it's one of my favorite holiday. It's probably my favorite holiday in general.
It's definitely not because football's on and you get to hang out.
No, well, it's not. It has nothing to do with football. It has nothing to do with football. But it's because it's the last holiday that hasn't really been commercialized. You notice what was the last holiday that you saw in stores? Halloween. And then right after that, what did they do?
Thanksgiving.
Christmas.
Black Friday.
Christmas.
Christmas.
They're just like Black Friday's like the big one, but like no one you can't, they haven't commercialized, they haven't sort of adulterated Thanksgiving yet. Like it's still sort of pure in its form. They've kind of adulterated Easter, they've adulterated Christmas. So but Thanksgiving is straightforward. What are you thankful for? And that's always the mindset of a winner. You and I know that.
Absolutely.
So with that,
gratitude equals altitude. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are the 3 things you are most thankful / grateful for?
Health, family, and community. I mean, there's a lot of them, but having the health, the mind, community, family, friends, like the people around me, I'm most thankful for, probably.
Absolutely. I would say I'm most thankful for the health, which is really easy to take for granted because you could. Something happens, like you could be driving, bro, and now you're you get hit, you get clipped.
Speaking of health, I just came up with a name for you.
Yeah, a name?
Yes, the nickname. You don't have a nickname.
A Fox. Fox is my nickname.
Fox. Well, that's your last name.
Well,
it's not really a nickname if it's your name.
It works. It's it's
your new name. We're gonna write this down. Omega Man.
Omega Man.
Omega Man. Yeah,
because I smell like fish oil.
Well, no, he's always eating almonds, cashews, peanuts. That's his snack. And if he misses a snack, what's for dinner or lunch? Omegas.
Nuts. Yeah, I mean nuts, mixed nuts. I get a box of mixed nuts. Good fats, good oils.
Yeah, keeps you full. Yeah, Omega Man.
Omega Man. All right.
But anyway, there's your health. Omega Man is a new name.
They
put that in the caption.
So what are the 3 things most thankful for? For sure, health. And I think that's really underrated because, that conference we went to a couple weeks back, they were like, if you have good health, then you can make time for everything else.
Right.
If you have poor health, you don't have time for anything else.
That's so true.
So it's really either take care of it now or take care of it later. That's how I look at it. And so, health for sure. I'm extremely thankful for I would say just the people in my closer circle. So that's going to be you and Nancy. That's going to be my family. That's going to be other people in that closer circle that we've sort of chosen, we've selected. right? And we talk about this thing between choosing people by convenience or choosing people by selection, and so that's very grateful for those. And then lastly, I'm really grateful for. I'm very grateful. This is going to sound weird. For COVID, I'm very grateful for everything that it brought about. And let me elaborate on it. I'm not grateful because there's a virus going around and people are dying and businesses. That's not what I'm grateful for. What I'm grateful for is it was very much the shock wave that needed, because what did COVID display? It displayed how people really act and where they really stand. And I have absolutely no time for someone to beat around the bush. Like, I'd rather you be transparent in who you are and have that come out. And a lot of people's true colors came out. And a lot of people ended up on my block list. And a lot of people, I know I ended up on a lot of people's block lists.
Yeah.
You know, and so like, if that, like, that's cool. Like, if you want nothing to do with me, then that's great. Then you don't have to have anything to do with me. But if like you do, then we can move forward from there. I'm also grateful because it was just very much like you want to talk about like hunting or even like a fight or flight. Like, man, you got two options as a business owner. You can either adapt and pivot or like do the dang thing, or you can be like, well, that's it, and blame everything else.
Yeah.
Those are your two options.
Yeah.
You can either accept it, take ownership of it. Now, I didn't cause COVID, but you can take ownership of it. Like, we opened a business and we're committed to the people that we're serving. Or I can blame the government. I could blame 18,000 other people.
Yeah.
But so I'm really grateful that is arguably the two most aggressive years of growth in my life.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying that goes, when times are tough, you either have to incubate or innovate. And I think for a lot of people, COVID was a time where they had to, everybody from whatever job you were working at, whatever business you were running, that was a time to say, okay, this is the time when you're going to look back and say, this was a lesson that I learned that cost me a lot of money, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Dude, your failures are definitely equally as valuable as your successes. And, a lot of people were faced with that, and they had to, make some tough decisions or, innovate. And innovation is what some people need to do to.
We're looking at, you got some comments. Leah's a member of ours, a great member. Her and her son, single mom. Here's the thing with single mom. She's single mom, self-employed, putting her son and herself and her son through jiu-jitsu. And she said she thrived during COVID. And so that is, it was the case of one or the other. Like, how bad do you want it? Now, granted, I've never worked so hard in my life, but I think that's a good, I think that's a really good, it's good to be challenged like that. Yeah. You can't maintain in that space. You can't do that forever, but it's good to be challenged like that.
Yeah. And you know what? Leah's a good example because she is a single mom raising a son, and she, and she's in a construction and renovation industry dominated by men.
Yeah.
Dominated. And I remember that, Leah hit a little stretch where she was actually busy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if I was on a site or somebody came out to do some construction work for me and I have a female come out, first thing I'm going to think is like, okay, where's the foreman?
Where's the boss?
Yeah, where's the boss? Exactly.
Where's the boss? Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, good for you, Leah.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Good for you.
What's this guy say? I don't know who it is. I joined Metro because of COVID, because it was kind of like being back to normal. Michigan was closed pretty much. So I agree with you, Omega Man. That's got to be Chad. Facebook. It's got to be Chad. I don't know who that is. It was like, we kind of took a stance, and people were either for it or against it. And that's cool. Like, that's the goal of business, is attract people who want to be around you. So top ways, next question. Top ways to fail at jiu-jitsu.
Top ways to fail at jiu-jitsu.
Top ways to fail.
Yeah. What's your take on that one?
So really simple. I think in if I had to choose one and put it in a sentence, is lie to yourself and don't be committed to see it out. And so all of that goes into now what goes into that. You need to realize this is what you're signing up for. And we try to do a really good job with it, because we try to do a really good job with, like, all right, awesome. So to black belt ballpark takes 10 years. Awesome. What's going to happen? Like, let's look forward in 10 years, or even whatever, 3 years. If you maybe you don't want a black belt, but you want to train for a little bit. 3 years. What's going to happen in 3 years? It boggles my mind how many people have life changes that I could have seen coming in 6 months. Case in point, Christmas time. Hey, coach, you know what? Christmas came in December this year. I didn't see that coming, actually. So I got to take a break. Oh. You know what's wild is Christmas actually comes on the same day every year since its inception. Like it's always been there. Same thing with Thanksgiving. Same thing with the New Year's. Same thing with spring break. Same thing with summer break. Same thing with all these other activities. So like if you're just letting these things hit you and you're not planning for them, versus, all right, listen, this is something I want to do and I know I'll be able to make time and I got family and I've taught, like, because that, like, I like talking to guys who are like 30 and up, because they've got a little bit more foresight. I think it's the foresight and the commitment to be like, I can't do 5 days a week. I got a family, I got a job, I got these other responsibilities, but I can do 2 regularly. So top ways to fail at jiu-jitsu would be like, have no foresight, do it on an emotional whim, train hard for 3 weeks, and I'll never see you again. Like that's happened so many times. I've lost track. It's actually a cliche joke. If you're not in the community, the jiu-jitsu community, it's a cliche joke. Like, we just don't see people. So that's the top way to fail at jiu-jitsu.
Well, you know what? When you start going to the gym, Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, Raise the Bar,
Crunch coming soon.
Yeah.
They've hit every other business. Like, they haven't hit the best business in Southgate. They haven't walked in and been like, took a picture with us. I'm really surprised.
Crunch Fitness?
Yeah, because our marketing tactics are kind of similar. Like, we're both kind of gangster with it. So they, like, I'm surprised they haven't, honestly. Like, if anyone sees Crunch, tag them, be like, hey, you really need to get with these guys. I sent them a DM as well, but continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so jiu-jitsu, a workout program, fitness program, kickboxing, yoga, I mean, whatever it is, those things are not just about the body.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, those are not about the body. So jiu-jitsu equals confidence. Okay?
Yeah, it does. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and you can only know what that means if you train martial arts and you're not afraid to walk down, like, you're not afraid. If you can only understand what that means if you're around a billionaire or The Rock. Like, you can take care of yourself.
Literally, if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was in this room,
it,
not the confidence in like a self-defense situation, but just the confidence to be like I've got nothing to prove to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that confidence, imagine walking around anybody and being like, I have absolutely nothing to prove to you. Like that's like the confidence that comes. Amanda's going to be here at 10, about 40 minutes. I hope she's here in time before the podcast ends. Like, she gets here early so I can ask her about like the before and after, my confidence. Cause we started dating right when I started jiu-jitsu or training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And she could see like the transformation that has come from that. But I'll see if we can get that live feedback on that. But I agree with that. Jiu-jitsu is confidence.
So the question was
top ways to fail at jiu-jitsu, like the top way to fail.
Yeah. So thinking that you're going to get something that you're not, so you're not going to get a great looking body. You're not going to be able to, to kick some ass. You're not being able to be the toughest guy in the block. Really, it's about transformation of who you are as a person and who you want to be and who you're meant to be. And when you the easiest way to fail is be like, you know what? I just beat 3-4 guys my rank or a bunch of guys on the mat. So like, that's what I'm here to do. And then you start to focus on winning and beating people, and you forget that the hard work, the focus, the discipline, the consistency that it took to get in there is really what you're getting from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about winning a match, it's about winning in life. So if you
I
get
agree
away
with
from
that.
that, so if you get away from that, it's so easy to fail because that's not what martial arts is.
They let's see. So it's gotta be. This one says apologies, secondary part. I thought Coach Muhammad went hunting last weekend. This Facebook user, I don't know who it is. He says good luck on your hunt.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Really excited.
Mark,
really excited.
Mark, for a student on the 2 days a week, if you never miss a class, how many months should it take to get your blue belt? So it's a great question. The answer is how many frogs fit in a bathtub?
Whoa. How many frogs fit in the bathtub?
Yep. If you can answer that question, I can get you a definite answer. So that's a cliche my dad always used to be like, it depends. Depends. 2 days a week, your attendance is just one thing. Like, are you coming? Are you screwing around for those 2 weeks? Are you not paying attention? Is your mind somewhere else? Are you not doing full matches? Do you have any physical limitations? And the frogs in the bathtub is what size are the frogs? How big's the bathtub? How are we putting them in there? Like, there's a lot of variables that go into it.
Yeah.
That's that cliche. So
that's such a smart ass answer.
So
that's such, and David does not mean that. For the record, is Mark asked that question?
Yeah, Mark asked.
Is that my boy Mark?
Yeah, it's Mark. It's Mark.
Lesky.
Well, yeah, his name's longer than that. But yeah,
okay. Mark. Yeah, that's such a smart ass answer.
Yeah.
But it changes and it varies from person to person. I mean, Mark is
training way more than 2 days a week.
Oh, Mark has gone like 100 days in the last year.
Yeah,
100 or 200 classes in the last year.
Probably the last 6 months.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think there's anybody in the gym who's training as much as he is.
Yeah. I mean, ballpark, blue belt, ballpark. You're looking at 18 months. I mean, 18 months, possibly. They're doing 2 days a week, possibly 2 years. It really just depends. Like it, and I always tell everybody, like, man, if you're training for the belt, I'll just give you a blue belt now. I'll give you one now because you're gonna quit. Like I swear to you, like if you're training for the belt, you're gonna quit.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I have to like be an advocate for the guys at the beginning because I know and I remember what it feels like, and so do you. How long were you a white belt for?
18 months.
18. Okay, I was longer than you.
Yeah.
You
probably were.
Yeah, I was
18,
like
18 months, maybe 19 months or so.
Yeah, I was a white belt for I'd say 2 years. And I was grinding.
Yeah,
I was banging for 2 years straight.
Yeah,
but yeah, like in my opinion, why it takes, you know, you responded with how many frogs does it take to put in a bathtub is because you know, there's a couple different things that go into play. One of them is attendance, of course.
Sure,
you have to show up to class. Another one is what kind of community member you are in your school.
Yeah,
you know. Another one, what kind of student are you? You know, if we're covering, say, like this month we're covering deep half guard, for example, or you know,
in the advanced,
in the beginners we're covering some guard moves. Yeah. If after you cover those, immediately you go back to try to work those positions, and even if they don't work at all, then you are on your, I call that an accelerated rate.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the body size. So if somebody who's like Jordan is he's a more lean, compact athlete that we have.
Yep.
So Jordan is always fighting people who are bigger, stronger, you know, than him, more explosive than him. He's got an uphill battle. But when he goes up against people his size or his age or whatever, he showed it up in tournaments that he's kicked ass.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time in here, you know, I mean, I feel like Jordan, when I was his body, I feel like I was getting messed up like every day. But he goes to tournaments and he's had a lot of success. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, I think it could be anywhere from like, 8 months to 2 years.
2 days a week, though? 2
days a week.
Yeah, 2 days a week. Yeah, it's not gonna happen in 8 months. But
yeah. If there's one thing that David and I definitely go back and forth about, definitely go back and forth is definitely the promotion.
Because here's the thing, man. Like here's the thing with belt promotions. Like and we're trying, like we're always trying to make it as objective as possible. Because like that's a notorious like thing, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's promotions, belt promotions, especially higher rank you go, they become pretty subjective. Meaning like based on that professor, like like, and that's how you get people who are like, I got my black belt after 20 years of consistent training.
Which is ridiculous.
That's
unless you're.
I mean, like why?
Instructor.
Like I just can't. It's wild. Like 20 years is a long time.
Yeah, it took Al Bundy 20 years to get his black belt.
Yeah, well, we don't know. Like we don't know how often he was trained. Like there's a lot of variables, but like to make it objective, like we've got a list of techniques, and it's actually being revised. I think it's finalized. We just have to put it up. Of like, hey, you definitely need to be able to do A through Z on a resisting opponent. Like all of these. Like don't even come to me until you can do A through Z on a resisting opponent. Like don't ask me about it. Like honestly, and until I see it. And so all these things go into it. But yet I'd much rather like what would you honestly feel good about? Like knowing, being like, you know what, time frame, I don't think he's quite there yet technically, but time frame, I just don't want him to get, I want to give him this to satisfy his hunger. Like I want to give this to him a few months early just so he'll feel good about it. Or would you rather be like, hey bro, like when I got my brown belt, do you know how many people in the gym, like practically everybody, literally everybody but my coaches were like, bro, that was so long overdue. That was that was really long overdue. Like by however long they see it. Because and again, I would rather that. I'd rather be like I'd rather be like a brown belt walking around in a purple than a purple walking around in a brown belt. So like that's the mindset. And it goes back to what Professor was saying. If you come in and you're like, my goal is I want to get belts. So dude, I had this dude come in, and he's like, I set a goal for myself, set goals. And look, I love goals. I'm here for them. I want to get a blue belt by my birthday. And he had signed up like it would have been like 11 and a half month blue belt. And I was like, all right. And then his birthday came and went. He was pissed, or he was coming up. And so he's like, all right, well, maybe I want private lessons. I was like, what do you need private lessons for? Like, is that the answer? And long story short, he ended up quitting my gym, going to another gym where they gave him a blue belt on the spot, week 1. That's what he wanted. And so what does it say if you're going to leave my gym because my standards are so high that you haven't met for a blue belt yet? Makes me feel really good, honestly. But his reason for training, I don't see him being a black belt. I don't see him being a black belt. So his reason for training was for the status that comes with the belt, not for how you're going to grow as a person, which is way more valuable than the belt can give. So what do you, I know you've had a thought on that. I just wanted to get that.
Coach David and I differ just a little bit. And I think there comes a point where you have to be rewarded for your effort. And you have to be acknowledged for the time you put in and for the technique that you know. So you do have to put your time in and show that you're growing. Again, the big thing is, like the big thing that I don't think people realize is that when you go from white to blue, blue to purple, there's a type of growth and maturity regardless of your age. Yeah. Totally regardless of your age 100%. Off of the mat.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like that's a big one. You know, the technique and the personal growth off the mat, they're really hand in hand, but I'm not big. I mean, I don't feel that, I don't think an athlete needs to have a 10-year journey, like a standard minimum 10-year journey to get a black belt. 10 or 15. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not going to take, anybody who starts jiu-jitsu is always going to get their black belt in under 10 years, but I just don't think it's necessary. Like from Alvarez, Alvarez is a very, very competitive school, right?
Sure.
And Coach Bruno, like heavy competition. Yeah. And he's had a lot of his students say, you know what, Coach, I just want to stay at, and these are like 8 to 10 year black belts, like a dozen of them I've trained with out there. And they've told him, I said, Coach, you know what? I want to compete one more tournament at blue or brown or purple or whatever it is. Yeah. And, I remember Alvarez saying, look, man, more than a couple months. When I think you're ready. But if you really want it, you're going to the next belt, and you just got to go get after it at the next belt. Yeah. So I'm not going to hold you back when I think you're ready.
And I'll add this, right? So Jordan says he's the blue belt we were talking about. I want to know, when I get a belt or a stripe, I earned it, rather than a coach look at the calendar and say, oh yeah, he's due for something. That's the exact argument. I'll go the other way though, and saying there are some coaches that are like so heavy on competition, rather than getting their athletes better, they'll sandbag their athlete. Bro, I've seen 5-year blue belts. Like 5-year blue belts. So like, I'm like, and they win. Like of course they're winning. And I'm like, what are you looking for? Yeah. What are you looking for? And the only thing I can say is like, you want to keep riding on those laurels of like, we're the most winningest school. Yeah. I would dominate a blue belt division. I would tear that division up because I'm at a black belt level. And so like, why you're not doing your athlete any favors holding them back if they've earned that. It's this balance, right? Like, so like why, I don't know why you would sandbag somebody like in a tournament format, other than just to make your academy look good. Be like if I see someone who's a blue belt and like they're obviously purple up, and I'm not going to say that's a hella good blue belt. I'm going to say that's a sandbagging purple. Like that's what I see. Yeah, that's what I see. And so I was like, all right, well, it's not his fault because he's not in control of his promotion. So the coach just wants to boost his own ego to make his numbers look good, to say we're the, come look at our competition academy, like all these things. So, and Alvarez is a great point. He's like, look, man, if you don't feel ready for purple, I'm gonna get you that. I'm telling you, you're ready. This isn't up for discussion. Now go validate it. You got to train. You're at the next level now. Get ready because they're coming for you. And that's very much like. That's kind of what he did with me in my black belt. Like my black belt was a surprise. I was like it was just like, all right, well, I can't give it back to him. So now I just need to like really work extra hard to validate this. So that's the psyche that goes into belts appropriately timed. So I joined Metro to get a belt. I joined Metro to get a belt smaller than my current 44 waist belt. So he's saying he wanted to shrink his waist. Yeah. Thanks, golf. So yeah, that's the chap we were talking about that got injured golfing. So what do you weigh? I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to get to your two questions. Yeah. What makes a good training partner versus a great training partner in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. There's a lot of that's a good question that we had come in. So when I was 19 to 21 years old, I was hitting the weights really, really heavy. And I was in this routine where I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting to the gym by 6 o'clock. And one of my good friends and cousins, Durade Elder, he's an attorney now, very, very accomplished attorney, on the top attorneys in Michigan, and I think even recognized over the country. He was my training partner. He was my cousin first, but he was my training partner. And he was the best partner that I ever had, because we would go into the gym 6 o'clock in the morning. We would agree on a time, and we literally would barely talk to each other. There was no social. I mean, we could talk about, we weren't married at the time.
You and Nancy?
Yeah, we were not married. Yeah, when we first started.
Just had to clarify, it wasn't you and Dwayne.
Yeah, me and Nancy were married at the time, and but we had sports in common, we had family in common, work, and all that kind of stuff. But we just wouldn't talk to each other. We would go there, and our goal was to get a good workout. And if we worked out in the afternoon, same thing. We would not talk to each other. So we were there to help each other meet our goal. And there was no bullshit. There was no, conversations. And even on our way.
So you guys weren't like just sitting on the bench, wasting 5 minutes in between sets,
Man,
checking your Instagram and being like hard workout. Like
yeah, it was so easy to do all that. Yeah, so one of the good character traits of a great training partner is not one who's talking about all their stuff that's going on at home. You can't pick a good training partner in your health and wellness journey. They kind of have to pick you. Because my best friends, like I couldn't, like for example, I can't pick David to go be a football friend with me. He doesn't watch football. He has to be into football.
I would go, but I wouldn't have much to say.
Yeah, you would be pacing and walking up and down like you're about to explode.
So boring.
Yeah, you put your head in the computer and just,
so boring.
So that's one of them, is a training partner who does not want to talk about it. They want to be about it, and they just train or do the technique, and they dial in on the form and the movement of jiu-jitsu. That's one. What's one for you?
I'm just going to asterisk on the mat.
On the mat.
On the mat. When you're here, you're in the academy, you're here for jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Right? You're here for jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Once the mat's over, do your thing. Go hang out, socialize.
And you know what? And from experience, I can tell you, it's almost awkward hanging out with a very good training partner outside of the mat. It's almost awkward. And what I mean by that is like, you're so dialed in to what you want to do on the mat that you guys are connecting because you both want the exact same thing. Off the mat, if you're hanging out with this person, you should have kind of different goals about your family or your career. Like Durade wanted to go he was going into law, and I was going into business at the time. I knew it and he knew it. So off the mat, it's like we couldn't really have a conversation. We were friends and close, but we couldn't connect as much as we did in the gym as we did outside of the gym, and that's how it should be.
Yeah. Well, I think it's situational, right? So, but I also think it's a rarity. Like Amanda and I talk about this a lot. Like you're dealing with I am, and you are as well, a unicorn. So you take it's super rare mythical creature. You're dealing with someone who's an entrepreneur, family, values family, jiu-jitsu practitioner, and man of faith. Different faiths, but still a man of faith. And so finding someone who fit like that, it's a unicorn. It's like you if you take the entire population and filter that down, that's probably a pretty small number in terms of all of America. So it's not that you couldn't, but going back to the people that we're thankful for and that we've chosen, I'll kick if someone wants to talk about the football or Super Bowl or whatever. I'll be I'll humor it, but then I have nothing to add or take away from that conversation. I'm going to keep walking. Yeah. But if you're hey, if you want to talk about something like business, if you want to talk about investments, if you want to talk about something like that, then okay, I'm here for that. You want to talk about jiu-jitsu? I'm here for that. You want to talk about faith? I'm here for that. You want to talk about family or being a life hack to keep your 2-year-old from screeching spontaneously. I'm here for that. I need to know that. But anything else. So I think it's just your common interests, right? But to find someone who has all those that has that whole package and has exactly what you have, it's pretty really, really rare. Yeah. At least that's what I've found.
Yeah, but you know what? But they're out there.
They're out there, sure.
Yeah, they're out there.
And the more boxes they check, faith, family, jiu-jitsu, even if you don't you're not necessarily in business, that's a large portion of it. That's more than everyone else. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's how many of those circles overlap. But my answer: good training partner, great versus great training partner. I think a great training partner is selfless. They're selfless. And it's
you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but last night, who's a great training partner is Devin Holly.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's a great trainer. I'll tell you what.
He's like Wesley Snipes. If Wesley Snipes was like 240.
No, Devin's
he's cool. He's like Wesley Snipes.
He's a cool cat, man. I tell you what, if Arafat, when Arafat comes in here, Arafat's been on this major competition run, and I think Devin Holly has been a good body for him because he really pushes him. And last night, I had Arafat do like, probably a total of, I don't know, 50 to 80 reps of a couple different moves. And Devin Holly was the victim of that. Devin Holly was like, he got his matches in, came back, got some more reps in. And after they were done, right before they left, I'm like, Arafat, let me see what you're, where you're at. And I'm like, you know what, you need about 10 more. So he grabbed Devin, and Devin sacrificed his body, and he's been a great training partner.
Yeah,
so he's the example of a really, really good one.
Yeah, and that's and there's many more, but like that's an example of selfless, right? Where like when you come in, it's kind of the JFK thing, like ask not what your team can do for you, but what you can do for your team. Like that's the mindset, and I'll broaden that, and that should be like your outlook on life, not what can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for me? It's like in like business and family and ministry, it's like what can I provide? Because man, that reciprocity, like it's a rule. Like it's a rule. You get you like it's a rule. What you put in is what you get out, and like so that's what makes that secret to consistency in your fitness routine. It's a secret to consistency in your fitness routine. And then we got some more that came in through our community app as well. But what's the secret to your consistency? I feel like you've been consistent longer, going on 30 years or so.
Yeah. I do it because I enjoy it, and I do it because it makes me better off of the mat. Honestly, my secret is just that. I do it because it makes me better off the mat, and it helps me manage Professor Muhammad off the mat. It's all about you're only on the mat for an hour at a time, 2 hours tops. So everything that I do in the gym, if I'm lifting weights, if I'm doing yoga or anything I'm doing, it's always because I know I take it home, I take it to my job, and it makes me more efficient. Jiu-Jitsu should never, ever define you as a human being. It should never say, because you're good, you're smart. Because you're good, you're popular. Jiu-Jitsu is meant like lottery. If I slapped $100 million on the table, who you really are is going to come out as a person. If I put $100 million and it's yours, it's going to magnify who you are. And that's really what jiu-jitsu and a really successful journey will do. It'll magnify who you are as a person. So secrets to consistency: take what you do off the mat, go give it to your wife, your husband, your brother, your job.
And I'm gonna you're just about to die here. So I'm gonna add this, right? I think that's the key. You have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's got to be a level of enjoyment. Now, do I enjoy getting choked and going unconscious and the aches and pains that come with it? Not necessarily, but you choose your pain. Jiu-jitsu can be kind of painful. Yeah. Working out can be kind of painful.
Yeah.
Poor cardio health is very painful. Your knees hurting because you're overweight is painful. Choose your pain. Which one do you want? So, but it is enjoyable. And so you're talking about exercise routine, and I've said this. I mean, obviously, we're pro advocates of jiu-jitsu. Yeah. But there's lots of other ways to get in shape. If you're like, yo, I'm just into like gymnastics, you should do gymnastics. Probably shouldn't do jiu-jitsu unless you have that desire.
Right.
I mean, like I'm not going to try and fit a square peg in a round hole. But if you're like, hey man, like I want that, I'm down for that. Like that's going to be easier. Like it's like if I take whatever something you enjoy, I shouldn't have to convince you to have to do it. Now there's days where you're like, yo, I'm not feeling that. Like I don't feel like training jiu-jitsu every day. I don't feel like training jiu-jitsu every day. Like especially with like we're doing this build out. That's why we should. We're late to the game. We should have announced in this new build out that we're doing. Like after, a whole day doing that, my knees, my body's like just kind of feeling a little broke down. Like I don't necessarily feel like having it further broken down, but I do enjoy it. So that's where the discipline kind of overrides some of your just mental laziness, your mental lethargy. But it's enjoyable. Bottom line, it's enjoyable. And knowing that, and again, knowing your why. We talk about your why for why you train. Like I train, like, do I like pizza or salad? I love pizza far more than salad.
Yeah.
But I know that salad is way more conducive to my why and long-term goals. Like I still want to be rolling around wrestling with my kids when I'm 47, so like that salad's going to be helping with that. not so much the pizza.
Did you know that it takes you have to walk one whole football field to work off one M&M? I think I read that somewhere about 15 or 20 years ago.
An M&M.
One
An
M&M.
M&M.
Yes.
Well, first off, M&Ms are disgusting, so that's your fault for eating them. Unless they're the peanut ones, those are good.
Yeah.
Peanut butter, but one football.
Yeah. So speaking of salad and pizza,
Okay.
so think about that before you have a piece of candy. One football field, you have to walk an entire football field to burn off one M&M. Yes.
Interesting. So now we got one coming. Coach Johnny's got a question, and Abed Abdicator had the same one. He said, "What's your advice to someone competing for the first time?" Coach Johnny says, "How do you keep your head in the game during competitions to avoid mind blanks?" So are you talking about? So I'm gonna answer Abed's. Abed's was like, "How do you advice to someone competing for the first time? Make sure you're hydrated. Know your game plan, your roadmap of exactly what you want to do, your perfect match, start to finish, and how you want to finish, and know how to get there from any position. And that's your goal. Know exactly what you want to do. Don't just try to take what comes into you. Go in expecting to win. You have trained for this. You've been trained by guys who have competed their entire jiu-jitsu career. And so you are absolutely good enough to win. Don't doubt yourself. Otherwise, you will lose. And then no matter the outcome, it's valuable. Like know the outcome. Like no matter the outcome, again, since it's not your identity as a person, your value as a person,
Right.
You're not a loser. You're not worthless as a human if you lose. No one thinks less of you. In fact, you are by definition, by signing. This is two things have to happen for you to be in the minority: by enrolling and registering for a jiu-jitsu tournament and showing up. Lots of people can do the first one. Not everyone does the second one. And so showing up and giving it all you got, you're already in like the top 5%. A lot of people won't do that, So that's the mindset. Coach Johnny, how to keep your head in the game during competition to avoid mind blanks. That goes back to your roadmap. Like my goal, my whole goal, like every match, stand up, get the takedown, pass guard, Darce. Every match. Like that's my goal no matter who I'm going with. Right? So now if I get on bottom, try to get the sweep, get on top, back to Darce. Like everything just keeps refunneling. All roads lead to Rome. To you specifically, if you're just trying to like catch whatever submission comes at you, you're not hunting. You're just kind of like settling for there might be a quick kimura or a triangle or whatever. You should hunt for one that you're like very good at. Like I tell like, hey, I'm gonna hit a Darce on you, okay, and you're probably not gonna be able to stop it. Like that, go for the one. Don't try to just catch whatever's there. So,
so I would respond to that. You build your confidence and calmness in a tournament in your training sessions in the room. That's where you're going to win, and that's where you're going to get the confidence and the jitters out. The harder that you train leading up to a tournament, the easier it's going to become.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it many times. Till this day, there hasn't been one time that I've ever competed, where my training partners, where the people that I competed against were more physical and ruthless than my training partners.
So it's been a couple times. I think we were talking purple belt. Purple belt's a vicious bracket, bro. Yeah. Like purple belt's a vicious bracket. A couple times where I was like, dude, like I just had nothing left to give that guy. I had no answer for it. But by and large,
yeah. Well, when you're competing, I mean, you're also doing gi, you're doing no gi.
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
You're I'm just like, 4 or 5 matches deep in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you're gonna be exhausted.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
So, but I would agree with you overall. Like you go in first match, you might have lost in points, but I've done matches where I'm like, I feel like it was a warm up match. Like and I'm eliminated first round, and I was like, all right, that's it. So that now we learn, but it's not because I'm winded, right? And I don't think. Coach Johnny, I don't think your cardio is the issue, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's your fatigue or muscle. I think it's just a little bit that technique, that mindset, like you're asking about. So,
yeah. So again, there, I definitely recommend more training. And I got homework for you guys, for Abid and Johnny. Next time you come to class, I want you to sit down as soon as 8:30 hits or class is over. I just want you to sit back and watch. Watch who's drilling, watch who's rolling, and watch who's bullshit.
Oh, at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m.?
8 p.m. or 8:30.
8:30. Well, 8:30
Yeah.
we're off the mat. So.
When someone is done, watch what they do. Are they drilling the technique again? Are they, what are they doing? So that is invaluable. What you do with those last 5 to 10 minutes is invaluable. It can take your jiu-jitsu from here all the way to here. Just 5-10 minutes after each session, drilling the move.
What are we got any more questions from Leah?
No, that's it.
Let's see. Okay, so we got all right. I don't think Amanda's gonna be able to make it in here. But man, we should do a video about the increased confidence. You mentioned that confidence of jiu-jitsu. Like if I had to it's a toss up between the confidence that comes from it or the confidence that comes from it or the mental health.
Yeah, both, man.
Yeah, they're both. I know it's a toss up, but which one's most valuable? Like I don't, they're both. They're both. It's a potato. I mean, they go into each other.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when you have huge confidence, your mental health's going to improve.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We got one more question?
So we do not have another question, but next week, I think we're going to get some, how would you guys feel about getting the topic of cryptocurrency in our podcast?
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It's for drug dealers, right?
Cryptocurrency? No, it's not for drug dealers. It's for...
It's just the cliche. Like it's for drug dealers, it's for drug lords, it's for, it's dirty money. It's dirty money.
I just don't understand that. I don't know what it is. I mean, I hear...
People fear what they don't understand.
Yeah, I just heard that yesterday. Yeah, so cryptocurrency, how would you guys like to hear us to touch on cryptocurrency? If so, let us know.
I could get some people on. We could get some guests on here who actually know about it. Like they know. Like they could actually advise.
Smart people too.
Yeah, some smart people. Yeah, people who actually know about it. So yeah, that'd be a good topic.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I always liken it to they're like, oh, it's dangerous. Oh, it's not secure. Oh, it's for drug dealers. Oh, it's not proven. Oh, it's just like the crack. They said all that same thing about the internet. They said the same thing about putting your credit card in online. They said the same thing about fill in the blank. Anytime something new comes around, first it's condemned, then it's questioned, then it's accepted. So, and just think about what it'd be if you had bought in at Facebook in the year 2005. That would be wild. Mark says, yeah, he's down for crypto.
Mark is down for crypto?
Yeah, he's a you and my dad would really get along. He's a gold and silver guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Very, very much a gold. In fact, for my wedding, he gave us like an American Eagle and it's framed. It's like a gold coin. Like I can't.
He also gave you an AR-15
for 18th birthday, yeah. So
yeah. Have you ever shot that thing?
Yeah, I mean, we shot it.
Before we end, if Mark buys any cryptocurrency, for me, that would be like snow in June.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
It's possible.
I'd
love to see it.
Yeah. But all right, guys. So we'll catch you guys on the next podcast. It's going to be on our YouTube. Do me a favor, okay? If you got any of it, this is on TikTok too. Do all the things that help us, okay? Like if we make you laugh at all, if you like our jokes, our banter, if you're like, hey, I want to check out this, you just follow us, subscribe, hit the heart emotion, thumbs up, comment. That helps you pop up in other people's feed, and then they could see something or tag. If we commented something, be like, tag your boy and be like, hey, Professor Muhammad, 35 minutes in, they talk about competing. You should check this out. Or I do that. I do that all the time. Are they like, hey, Thanksgiving, the people in your circle, I'm thankful for you, type things. So stuff like that, share it. Okay. And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to be like, oh, I don't want people to see that I want Metro Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. Cause they're going to think I'm like a UFC fighter guy. That just really, really helps us out. And it takes 4 seconds.
Thanks,
click,
guys.
Subscribe. So we'll see you next week on next week's podcast. And we'll see you this week on the Mets. Awesome.